It's because he swallows the food. He doesn't chew it.
Yeah. Maybe he should do the second thing first.
You think?
Then
You give him treats and he just swallows it. It's like, why do you even want this treat? You didn't taste it.
well, they just want sustenance. They don't want
Right. That's why I trick him and
to enjoy.
I give him like 2 treats and then I grab the rest from his food bowl.
Yeah.
And then he loves that.
I think a lot of times I'm guilty of the same thing. Like I'm just eating food and not really like enjoying it.
Yeah.
And
But
then,
you at least taste it. You're chewing
Yeah.
it. You're not just swallowing it.
Right.
Which is why I think
he's walking away still making those noises.
yeah, because he's got all this food lodged in his throat that he just swallowed, not chewed.
Welcome to Watchers on the Couch, Castle Rock. That whole thing. I'm debating whether I should keep that in. Welcome to Watchers on the Couch, Castle Rock. I am one half of your host. My name is Chris Nays. The other half is sitting across the table from me. Her name is
Debbie Hodges bitching about cats.
Yep, we're starting with cat talk. Nothing abnormal about that whatsoever for this show anyway. This is your second or third favorite, possibly, Castle Rock podcast. If you're listening to like 3 of these recap shows, you have too much time on your hands.
You're getting a lot of recap.
Yeah. So we're at episode 7. I did not write down the title for this episode. Did you?
It's called The Word.
The Word. I didn't really know what it was before you just said it. So I haven't thought about how that works with the episode, but
yeah, last week's made sense. Mother.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't that Mother?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then The Word.
What is the word?
Well, I guess it could be the word from the angel.
Well, we'll get to all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But first, I didn't take down any news because I forgot. So instead, we're going to start with something a little different this week. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
First, I have a very small miniature rant that I need to go on because something happened to me via the internet this morning.
Oh, this morning?
Yeah,
Oh,
that
man.
I feel like I should mention on the show because it pertains to what we're doing. So, what I like to do with social media, which I recommend other people do this as well, is share things that you like, talk about things that you like, share things that you think are funny, do the same thing, talk about the thing that is funny about what you've shared. And that is kind of what I want my output to be on social media and what I want to get out of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like if you're even involving yourself and spending time looking at social media, you should have some kind of goal behind it, right?
No, it's just mindless scrolling.
Yeah. See, and
Just waiting to be mad.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that do just like mindlessly scroll through and just waste all of their time doing that. The second point that you just made, and you know, the just getting mad thing is kind of where I'm going with this. Is like
I can't believe it.
I posted something that I enjoy. It was a particular band. I'm like, this band is exactly what I want out of this particular genre. Not important what the band is, not important what the genre is. Just simply the fact that I'm sharing something that I like, right?
Right.
One of only like 3 people that responded to it in the couple of hours since I posted it this morning. Immediately shat all over it, mocked what I said, and
Somebody I know?
no, it's an acquaintance of mine.
Okay.
It's just a guy who's in a band here in town.
Okay.
I just know him because I don't remember if one of my bands ever played a show with him, but I just know him through the group of individuals that go to shows here, right? So, this is something that happens with social media where people just feel the need for, I'm not sure what trolling really is to people. Like because I'm not one and I don't go around just like shitting on what people like.
Yeah.
I don't get what the goal of that is.
Some people act like it's their job.
I think it's like,
my job to shit on your shit.
Yeah. I think mostly they just think it's funny to do it.
Yeah.
I can 100% say that the person that you're shitting on their stuff does not think it's funny.
No. And then they're aghast that you were offended.
Yeah. And and that's
then
the thing.
Makes them be able to be offended.
It reminds me of high school.
It's totally high school.
And like grade school and middle school. People are going to get an idea of what my experience was like going through school. I felt bullied all the time. That just was my experience, right?
Yeah.
I don't let that poison the rest of my life. I realize it was just a very specific circumstance. You know what I mean? It's like you're in that place with these people that you just have to be in a space with for so many years, and that's just the way it is, right? Yeah. I feel like trolling is a form of bullying. It's totally unnecessary.
Oh, it completely is.
It doesn't make any sense to do it. Like I said, I don't know what the goal of it. The only goal I can imagine is that they think it's funny and then they get a kick out of.
It makes them feel better.
Yeah, they have something going on in their life that makes them want to treat others not well.
They want to bring everybody down to their level.
Yeah, exactly. So, what that whole thing did.
So did you engage?
No, I totally did not. What I did is I maybe, I don't know if it's really passive aggressive if I directly post about it afterwards. What I basically said is, how many shit posts do you give a person before you block them?
Yeah.
What that same guy did is he posted underneath that, goodbye.
Oh, he goodbye to you?
So he knew exactly who I was talking about. He obviously felt a little bit of guilt, or else he wouldn't have posted on that one too. Yeah. Right?
He knew it was about him.
Yeah. So
so did he unfriend you?
I don't know, but I blocked him.
Oh.
Not out of a dramatic sense. Just like I don't need it.
Right.
My goal for social media is to, again, share things that I like. If you disagree, then let's have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
You could say, I disliked this for this reason. Give your thoughts and then back it up with a legitimate reason for why you disagree. That is not what he was doing.
He was just poo-pooing.
He was just shitting on it.
Yeah.
I don't have time for it. So, and this goes back to the mindless sort of scrolling through Facebook. I don't feel like I need to have to read your bullshit.
No, for sure.
You know what I mean? So now I'm putting myself and this guy in a Black Mirror situation, which I don't know if you ever saw the episode where like people have this implant thing they can put on their temple.
Yeah.
And you can erase people from your life. So
you just block them in real life?
So basically what it is like a Twilight Zone-ish sort of thing where like if you ever run into that person, they are blocked from your vision, and their voice is muted from your...
Well, wouldn't you just be running into people constantly?
Depending on how many people you block from your life. Right?
I've blocked everyone.
Well, so now what happens is, since I blocked them on social media, there are going to be occasions where this guy is in the same room with me, and now I have to, now it's an awkward thing. Yeah. Now he made it this, right? Yeah. Or did I make it this?
No, you shut the door because the annoying dog outside was barking.
Yeah, I just don't, I feel like with the wisdom I want to impart on people with this entire sort of mini rant is that I view this as sort of a politeness thing.
Just don't be a dick.
If you go through your life painting other people's experiences with black. You know what I mean? Like, he made me think about this all morning.
Yeah, he marred it.
Yeah. When it was completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
I didn't ever have to have this experience. We never had to have this talk about it on our show.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly could have just chosen not to talk about it at all. But the wisdom I want to impart is like, just, don't be a dick. Be polite. If you disagree with something I said, or if you just don't like my vibe on the internet, fucking ignore me.
Yeah, it's not even about being polite. It's just don't engage.
Yeah.
Just ignore it.
You know, I could have also chosen to ignore him, but he intruded on my shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
he made it impossible to ignore.
Yeah, right. So, you know, everybody out there in internet land, please don't be a troll. Just don't.
So
there's no reason to do that, you know?
So my question is, the post that he originally posted on, since he's been blocked, does that take it away?
No. I retracted his less than contribution from the, you know, from the
so you deleted
post.
it.
I deleted what he said.
Gotcha.
Everything else stays. That leaves the door open for people to talk to me about what it talked about originally, right?
Right.
That's not taking away from other people's experience from what I'm sharing.
No.
You know? So I feel like that's all the time we really need to spend on that. Just don't be a dickhead.
I think that all the time at work. Just don't be a dick.
There's, even like, you know.
Like, why are you being a dick to me?
Even, in a consumer situation, you know, they are at your library to get whatever it is out of the library they're to get out of it. They don't need to be a dick to you to make that shit happen.
No, don't bring your bad attitude in and then throw it at me and make it my fault.
Yeah.
It's working in a public setting has definitely made me more aware of how I treat other people in public settings. People that are at their jobs that are forced to be nice to you.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you being mean to them? They have to be nice to you.
Right.
Like, they're just doing their job. Like, would you want them to come in at your job and be an asshole to you?
Right.
No.
Yeah, and I'm just being nice because that's my nature.
Exactly.
So like if
nice.
your nature is not to be, then don't intrude on my shit.
Yeah.
Because I don't have time for it. I will take whatever precautions I need to. You know what I mean? If that means Black Mirroring you,
then that's what's going to happen.
That's what has to happen, right? So this is a 2-part thing to open this episode. We're going to move to the good side of this situation, which was me sharing things that I am into or tried to be into and didn't enjoy as much as I thought.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that right now. And we're going to talk about other shows that we like or dislike and tell people why. So do you want to go first or would you like me to?
I want to hear yours first.
So one of mine is Rick and Morty has come back. Have you watched the show at all?
No.
So basic concept behind Rick and Morty is that first of all, it's an animated series on Adult Swim.
It reminds me of Back to the Future.
So yeah, they're very loosely based on Doc and Marty.
Okay.
Right. Rick is Doc.
Right.
You know, for this comparison's sake, and Morty is Marty.
How do you know?
Yeah. So mad scientist takes this young person on completely insane adventures, right?
Yeah. I feel like it's a show you got to watch from the beginning too. Like I don't feel like you can just walk into it.
You actually can, because each episode is a new adventure.
Okay, well, I feel like it's a lot like Futurama.
Yeah.
Where you can walk into it, but you're not knowing the backstory of all the characters.
There are definitely arcs that happen.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like Seinfeld, where there's like there's
storylines
that jump across episodes and stuff like that. But if you're just going to jump in and check it out, you don't need to know necessarily. Okay. Now, when certain characters come in, yes, it will help to know
Right.
that there is an evil Morty out there somewhere, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So like there are things like that out there in the series, but in this season, none of those characters have come back that I have seen.
What season are they on?
This is season 4.
And Netflix picked it up, right?
Netflix does not have it.
I thought they were the one that brought it back.
I don't know. It's on Adult Swim. So
it is still on Adult Swim.
You can watch it on their website.
Gotcha.
I know that. So really enjoy this new season so far. There's only been 2 episodes, but the second episode you kind of saw a side of Rick that you'd never seen before. So anybody who's
a good side, not a bad side.
Yeah. Well, I think it's anybody who's into animated shows knows that like they can get away with a lot of stuff that regular series cannot. You know, like a good example of that is like South Park.
Yeah.
They can kind of tackle any topic they want to, and the mainstream kind of is not gonna care as much that they are talking about insane shit. You know what I mean? But Rick and Morty, they dabble in talking about real life stuff that's going on, but mostly it's just completely insane, otherworldly things that happen. So do you have one, or you want me to keep going?
Well, I did start watching that new Paul Rudd show, but I haven't finished it yet.
Oh yeah.
The Other Me, or
Life
Living with Me, or
Living with Yourself.
Living with Yourself.
Yeah, that's what it is. We got there. Yeah, I was actually going to mention that one too. Netflix show. I find it like pretty original.
It's very original, but like I said to you initially when I was talking to you about it, it makes me feel weird. Like I feel bad.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to watch them because
for him, or
yeah, I have so much empathy for both of the
husband and wife.
Well, for both of the Pauls.
Oh, the Pauls, yeah.
I have so much empathy, and I just feel bad because I'm like, this is a lose-lose situation.
Well, how far are you into it?
Halfway through. I'm on episode 3.
Okay. I think I saw episode 6. I didn't look if there was another one after.
I think there's only 6 episodes.
So that's a good thing about it, is like they didn't like overdo it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of shows
did they
spend way too much time, like they take on too many episodes, and then you're kind of like, it's taking a while to get to the payoff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of times. But yeah, no, I like the dynamic between the two, the two Pauls, like you said. And then
is it a cliffhanger season ending, or
well, do you want me to spoil it?
Well, no, I don't want you to tell me what happens. I just want to know, should I be expecting a season 2? Like, possibly, or is this just
I
a
think
one
that
and
there
done?
will be a season 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure because it's weird for him to be in a TV show. So I wasn't sure if this was just like a one-time thing he was doing for Netflix.
Yeah, he spends most of his time in TV or
movie world.
Movie world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ant-Man and the like. So,
yeah, so that was the only thing I was wondering if there was, and I didn't want to look that up because I didn't want it to be spoiled for me.
Sure, yeah. I don't know that for certain that there will be, but it's looking like there will be. I'll just say that.
They left it open.
Yeah.
Okay.
New season of It's Always Sunny is really, really good. That's another show that like surprises me how long they've been able to keep that going, because gosh, I want to say they're on like season 11 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And sitcoms, well, I guess it's not really a sitcom. It's a weird show.
Yeah.
But it's kind of its own thing. But not a lot of shows that have ensemble casts especially last that long.
Well, yeah, you run out of storylines.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that has to do with like they write it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they have people, they've cycled in writers as well that like help them along, I think.
Yeah.
But the main creators of the show are also the writers, so that helps, And I think this week was like they got to the end of the season already. So it kind of sucks that most of the seasons are only 10 and that's all you get. And then sometimes there's like 2 years in between seasons. Yeah, fuck. So great show. Danny DeVito is as funny as ever on it, you know.
Did he come in like season 5 or something?
It was like 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I believe he has
what a
said,
crazy casting choice that just totally worked, right?
Well, I think somebody in his one of his sons or daughters or something like that said they liked the show, and he checked it out and was like, I need to get on this show. He liked it that much.
Wow.
You know. And I think his agents are like, do not do this.
Yeah.
Why would you want to be on this show that's nobody's watching it, you know? Now once he got on it,
it gave him a whole new fan base.
Yeah, like people were intrigued that he was on this show, so they checked it out, and then all the episodes in season 2 are fucking great, you know. So, a lot of that had to do with him. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
What else am I watching?
I have not started this yet because I originally was going to wait and let all the episodes air. Because it wasn't a Here They All Are. It was like Castle Rock every week. You get a new episode. But because of everything I'm seeing online, I'm going to have to start it. The Mandalorian. There is no way I cannot see Baby Yoda.
Yeah, no, you have to watch.
Oh, my God.
You have to watch it. I have watched both twice already, I think.
When do the episodes come out? What day of the week?
I'm not sure.
So they only have 2 out right now, though, still?
They put 2 out the first week. So from here
it's just
through the rest of the season, I think it's going to be 1.
See, I was really wanting to like binge this.
Yeah.
And I don't think I can wait because I have so many questions about Baby Yoda.
You shouldn't wait. It's good. I will say the first episode, I was only kind of like half in on. Like, there's a lot of exposition and sort of explaining what setting it up,
right?
Basically, setting up the story of these characters. But second episode, you get a lot of cool shit happening,
and that's Baby Yoda.
Well, again, I don't really want to spoil stuff, so I'll just let you dig in. And
I've seen a GIF of him chasing a frog and then eating it.
Yeah.
And my friend and I at work were like, "Where is he putting this frog in his little body? And how is he pooping? Like, what? How does that come out? Is he using the force to make that come out?
It's got to be a big poop. You gotta think.
I just love that GIF. I love his little hands.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, in that moment, right? I think. Well, I'll just tell you what happens.
Okay.
The guy in the Mandalorian armor is speaking with another character off to the side while he is chasing around.
He's not paying attention. Yeah.
So then the next time he looks over, Baby Yoda has the frog creature in his hands.
Yeah.
And the guy in the armor tells him to put it down, and he immediately shoves it in his mouth and eats it and then burps. So it's cuter even than you think it is.
Oh my God.
It's amazing.
I heard that he's like 50 though, right?
Well, yeah,
I've learned a lot from the internet memes.
Just watch the show.
I know.
I was upset that Baby Yoda got spoiled for me before we even talked about it off mic last week.
Yeah.
Like I knew, immediately people posted pictures of Baby Yoda.
Yeah, of course.
It was right
no
away.
Which is why I also need to start watching it because I don't want it to be ruined for me.
So we'll stop talking about it now.
Just look up Baby Yoda.
Yeah, I probably should have said spoilers before we got into talking about all these shows.
Can we cut it in the beginning? Just splice it in there?
Sounds like a lot of work.
Spoiler alert.
Oop, I just bumped the mic. Okay, so last one I want to mention, and if you have another one, you can do that as well. But the HBO show Silicon Valley is doing its final season. I think there's only like 6 or 8 episodes in this season.
Was that the show with TJ Miller?
Yes.
Okay.
He has not been in this season or the last one.
Well, that's what happens when you make a bomb threat on like a bus or a train.
Yeah. The
Idiot.
guy kind of went a little nuts.
He was doing so much shit.
Yeah.
He was really killing it.
He was. I think he still does stand up and stuff. But when you are on an HBO show and you kind of go off the rails, like you sort of pull a Dave Chappelle. I think the media sort of played up the Dave Chappelle thing, though. I don't think he was ever actually nuts. I think people just called him nuts because he turned down a $50 million deal.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I think this is more of a legit
he
went off the rail situation.
Crazy train, yeah. Hi, Nicola. Are you going to sneeze on sneeze on Mike?
No, but all that to say, this season of Silicon Valley is hilarious. I've really liked this show. Hold on. Should we stop for... Are you okay, Nicola?
I think you got it under control.
All right. Well, we'll see. Everybody should watch this show. Have you checked out the show at all?
No.
You just know of it?
Yeah, I know I've seen like clips of like different scenes.
Well, check it out because it's good.
Okay.
HBO is really good at making good shows.
Yeah.
That's what everybody needs to know. Showtime's
pretty good at it too.
Yeah, speaking of that, I think Ray Donovan is back on, and that's a really good show too. Never seen that. Mobster.
I like.
Well, he's actually a cleaner, which is different. But
I like what's his face, Liev Schreiber.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I don't know everything that Liev Schreiber has done, but this is certainly among.
He's been in Scream, motherfucker.
That's right, he was.
He was in Scream and Scream 2 and a little bit in Scream 3.
And he was the accused killer.
Cotton Weary.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's...
Well, he was in prison in the first one.
Yeah.
And you don't really see him. And then the second one, he gets out of jail because he wasn't the killer.
Yeah.
And then he wants to become famous.
He also is in the worst Wolverine movie.
Yes. Yes, he is.
But people should not watch that. Because it's not good.
So is Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was Deadpool in that.
Yeah. But that's right. He fixed it in the Deadpool movies.
Right, exactly. Okay, so we spent enough time doing this. Let's talk about the show. Right?
Yeah.
Are we going to do our usual break?
Yeah, let's take a break. I need a cigarette before I get into this
Sometimes I cut out what we're talking about going on the break. Like last week, I cut out all of the in-between, like, should we go outside?
Should we?
Because we do this every single time.
Yeah.
And it's sort of wasting everyone's time.
No, it's not. They like to hear the debate, right?
Nicola, what do you think about it?
Purr, purr, purr.
Every pet that I do over the top of his head, the purring gets louder.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so... I'm not sure if he's enjoying this or not because his head is... Oh, okay, now we're better. This is a very visual thing that's happening right now.
Just petting the cat.
All right, so we're going to go on break. We'll be right back. All right, episode 7. Let's talk about it.
I can't see. So overall, what were your thoughts on the episode?
I really enjoyed it. I like that we're getting different flavors of episodes throughout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're kind of taking us to different places with each episode. We're not just staying in the town the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I did not expect a lot of things that happened in this.
No.
You know, well, I didn't really expect getting all of this time 400 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, all the flashbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that was nice.
I like that we, you know, because I was kind of commenting on previous episodes how we still don't know that much about what these weirdos are and that kind of thing.
And now we know everything.
Now we know it all.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that we finally got that stuff.
Yeah. Now we know, and now we're left to wonder, well, where is this going?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It ended the episode with an interesting note that, of course, we'll get to. But
yeah, well, I follow on Facebook Castle Rock discussion group, and each week they make a new thread to comment for that week's episode, and I had seen somebody post in the discussion group that was not in that thread, and they had said how it was a crazy episode.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool. It's going to be like episode 2 or whatever. Or no, that was episode 1. Or was it 2 where she kills Ace?
Oh gosh, now you're really putting my memory to the test. I think it was episode 2.
I don't remember.
I don't either. I could look back at my notes, but we don't have time.
Yeah. Anyway, I was like, all right, cool. It's going to be like that because we haven't had one of those episodes in a while. And then you sent me your reaction, which was literally just a picture.
Yeah, it was a Bitmoji of me and the cat both saying like, wow.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's fun.
Yeah. So I figured it was going to be a jaw-dropping moment somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And
there's no shortage of those either.
Disappoint.
Almost all the way through the season, almost every episode has had one of those where it's like, holy shit.
Yeah. He just took off my little marker.
Well, Venom, you did it again. So you're going to lead this one.
Yeah. I took a lot of notes. I have like 4 pages.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. So we start the episode off. It's 1619 and we're in New Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
And this is our first flashback. So we start the episode flashbacked, finally getting information.
Yeah, I was immediately intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
You see sort of the plight of what this group of
It's very
people,
muddy.
We're not going to do that, Venom. Yeah, it's all very dark.
It's very
like
sad.
the color palette of the at least this opening is like all grays.
Yeah.
Right.
Grays and browns.
Yeah. It's like they're under a cloudy sky.
Yeah.
All the time. But yeah, I guess it's centered around this group that they've been referencing. Ace has been referencing in the last couple of episodes.
This is finally the body snatcher people.
Right.
So we start with Augustin. Is that how his name is pronounced? I guess.
I'm not sure. I didn't write
There's
it down.
no E at the end, so
Mhm.
it's not like Augustine.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Augustin.
Okay.
He's the pastor, and he's talking to the people in the church. Because it's a child's funeral. Apparently, lots of people die in this town because they're all starving.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, the plight. The place that they're in. They're saying was it Amity that's saying that the land is poisoned?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's drawing during the funeral service, and then gets up and starts talking about how they are called by God and ordered by a man to do things, and the place is cursed. They need to find fertile ground. So
yeah, and I think I was sort of wondering right away, like, are they going to burn her
at the
as
stake?
a witch?
Yeah.
Because that is very much what was happening around this time.
Exactly.
Is witch hunting and that kind of thing. So are they going to kill her? But since we know from previous episodes that she was like a leader of a group of people.
Yeah, we're waiting still for her to be resurrected.
Yeah, we know that she's probably not going to get killed by the people who disagree with her.
Right. But I at least thought, because then she starts like convulsing on the ground and they say she's possessed. But we find out her dad is like the head honcho guy.
Right.
Which I think is why they didn't burn her at the stake, because he definitely is calling his daughter a witch.
Yeah.
And we find out that the pastor and Amity are fucking.
Right.
So they both get banished.
Right. And I wasn't sure if that was going to last or not. I didn't think it would last very long,
Well, I figured they were going to go and find new people.
Right.
Because, they were
or
cast
somewhere
out.
else for them to actually be in a place where they can grow food and, like survive.
Yeah.
Right. Then they go to the fucking lake again. This fucking lake is like where all kinds of negative shit has happened in this season and last season.
Yeah, and it's the lake, but it's the cliff. The
right,
cliff over the lake. Yeah.
It's like the same cliff that we've seen. I want to say season 1 opened with that guy killing himself off the cliff, right? The guy from Shawshank.
Yeah, the warden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she goes to the cliff because she hears like growling and howling and stuff, and then she sees a fire, and then this hooded figure comes out.
Yeah, and I was wondering whether she even actually saw
anything.
Yeah, or if she's like just hallucinating or
she's crazy.
Yeah, because I don't know. I mean, from what we know of her, she's either just crazy,
batshit crazy,
or she's unwell and just could just be seeing something that is not really there,
Yeah. So she sees the hooded figure in the robes, and then like a light comes over her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much all we see of that scene.
Right.
So you're left to wonder, well, what does that mean?
I thought it was a pretty interesting scene, couple of scenes, but you don't really know what's happening.
No,
so.
But I really love the transitions that they did in this episode,
Mm-hmm.
where when they did a flashback, they would transition into the painting on the wall of the exact same scene, because they're painting the entire manor.
Yeah.
In these scenes of what happened.
Yeah, there's some like
pretty
evil heavy metal looking murals.
Yeah.
On the wall. They reminded me of like album covers.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet.
Devil shit.
Yeah. Because they're still remodeling the place.
Right.
And there's lots of workers now.
Yeah, so you see Ace and you see a couple of other guys around there. And then I want to say in one of the transitions, they show
Augustine.
They show like the guy who was back then in the house looking as we see it in present day.
Yeah, and all the people are different,
right?
And in their clothes that they had been in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool scene because I figured Ace was Augustine or Augustin.
Yeah.
But they hadn't officially said it, and then they immediately told us, yeah.
Well, I got the feeling from the last couple previous episodes that, like, they kind of go into this in this episode, but, like, he was the first one to come back, and then she says she's going to be the last to come back later. Right. But you get the feeling that, like, they are mates,
mm-hmm. For sure.
They're either together or they're very, very close, that sort of thing. So,
yeah.
I think we just see Ace looking at the murals and stuff, and then it moves.
It moves to Ace going down to the parade spot where they're talking about the 400th anniversary parade and how it's going to be 4 days of festivities.
Yeah. So we sort of theorized that it was going to take 4 days for it to get all the way to where things are just starting happening, and ended up got a little more speed up than that.
Yeah.
Sped up than that.
Day one, you find out when things are happening.
So I actually like that.
Yeah, me too.
That we didn't have to spend 4 episodes wondering where we're going.
Yeah. Or all of this episode to not know.
Yeah.
And then it finally tell you at the end of this one and then go, oh,
yeah.
No, we only have a couple left.
Yeah, like you said, I dug how it sort of moved along really nicely.
Yeah,
transitioned well. So
yeah, so then we jump to Annie, and the cops are there because the last time we saw them, she had shot Rita, or claimed she had been, the one that killed Rita.
Right.
And she's saying that she came in, she tried to rob her, she had a gun, and she did what she had to do. But the cops are not dumb, and they're asking about the pills that she has and why she was stabbed with a syringe and why the phone records say she got a phone call from that area.
Yeah.
So they're not dum-dums.
No, and she, before we've seen her, in situations like this, she's usually in her element.
And she can get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's not as convincing with these police as she has had a pretty easy time getting out of stuff before.
Yeah. Well, because now they have answers for everything.
Yeah.
They have better answers. So yeah, so she just keeps saying that she didn't know her and that it wasn't Joy. It was all Annie.
I don't know how the hell I didn't know how the hell she was going to get out of this one.
No, she's not going to.
She's kind of dead to rights. You know what I mean? All of the, like you mentioned all of the elements in this situation, like, obviously something is going on.
Right.
You know?
And then you mix in the fact that Joy's been at this halfway house type thing.
Yeah, no, it's all fingers
nothing's
are
going
pointing
well
to her. So,
it's not going well for her at all. So then we transition to Pop, and he is rolling around bullets in his hand, and he's got a gun next to him.
Yeah, and he's dealing with this traumatic situation between him and his adopted daughter.
Right.
He's not in a good place.
No, and he's dying.
And he has a gun.
Yeah.
So Pop plus a gun is not good.
No.
No.
But then he leaves, and we see that he leaves the gun there. So that's either a good or a bad thing. I felt like when he left the gun there, I was like, you probably should have taken that.
Well, yeah, exactly. At least to keep in his car or whatever, or his truck. But, he goes to Shawshank.
Which was amazing.
Oh, yeah. To see Tim Robbins back at Shawshank, that's like total fan service.
Oh, my God. I wrote down, I was like, don't go back in there. You escaped. That's
right.
what I wrote down. I was like, you did all that digging, man. Don't go back in. You swam through shit.
It was just a really nice moment.
It was. It was nice to bring it back around, because when they first said that he was going to be in season 2, I was like, well, that seems like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, for sure.
So it was nice that they did a little cameo at the jail.
Yeah, at least spend a moment or two there. Who knows if he'll go back or not?
Right.
But if that's all we get of him in Shawshank, that's fine.
That's fine. It gave us some information about stuff.
And it sort of is filling in a little bit of blanks here and there that piece together what we see later in this episode. But he does. I don't know. There's beyond this going to where we're going now is he goes and sees Ace and Chris's dad, who apparently is a murderer.
Yeah, it's his brother-in-law, and he murdered Pop's sister, which was his wife.
Yeah, and they have a pretty tense conversation.
Yeah.
It's not a fun conversation that they have together.
No, but this is where we finally learned that Pop's name is Reggie.
Yeah, right.
Which was exciting to hear.
Yeah.
And it was 30 years ago that, he killed his wife. Mm-hmm. So he's been there for a while. So now we know finally why he's been raising these boys.
Right. Yeah, and I can't remember, what is he specifically asking him anything in particular, or is he
went there to say he forgives him.
That's right.
He's on this apology train because he's dying. So he went there to say, I forgive you.
Yep.
And that's when he lets him know that Ace was actually there to visit him 2 days ago.
Yeah. It seems like more people on this show should be realizing that Ace is weird.
Yeah. Well, Pop finally is.
Yeah, but see, Pop is now the only guy who is going around saying something crazy is going on here.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is he is, through these situations with his other adopted kids, he's cut off all of his allies now.
Yeah, he has no ties to anybody that would actually listen to him and care.
At least for now.
Yeah.
But we'll get to his big moment later on in the episode. But this is where the guard fills him in even more on why Ace was there, right?
Yeah. So he talks to Jimmy the cop.
Yep.
And finds out that Ace went down to Block F, where the Gimp was stored, which was Skarsgård.
Right.
And they show that the cage is empty and the clothes are in there and it's locked still. So where is Skarsgård?
So not knowing what we find out later, I wrote down, what happened to him, and then is this an even worse ending to that story that he's just gone now?
Right.
Because before, we at least know where he is, and that he's being watched by
people.
Yeah, by somebody.
Yeah.
But now he's just gone.
He's just gone.
So I'm like, well, that makes season 1 even weirder.
Yeah.
So
you took what little resolution we had and you've just destroyed it.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, take that for what it is. But of course, there's more to be revealed, obviously.
Right.
So
Pop is freaking out because he knows he's doing something big.
Mm-hmm.
He learns that he's rehabbing the Marston house.
Yeah. So now Pop's on a crusade
to figure out what the hell is going on.
Ace, to get to whoever he has to get to stop whatever kind of
bad thing,
bullshit that Ace is into from happening.
Right. So he immediately heads to the Marston house.
Right. Then we go in a flashback again, right?
Right, yeah. Then we see Amity again, and she returns to the town that she was banished from, to the church, and she comes bearing fresh food, and the plants outside are growing, and her dad says that it's witchcraft.
Yeah.
Which I feel like it kind of is.
Exactly. Like, I wrote down, she's definitely with Satan. Because, like, they've been living in this place forever. There is no food, nothing. Yeah. None of it made sense. No. You know what I mean?
They're living in a world of mud.
She's just crazy. And
she's a prophet.
Right, but she's even more. She's even weirder than before, having seen this quote unquote hooded figure that she sees as some kind of divine being.
Well, because now she's crazy and she's right.
Right.
So that makes her powerful.
Yeah, and I don't know. She's really good at convincing all these people, apparently.
Yeah, because they all bow down to her.
Like,
Dad runs
almost
away.
immediately, everybody is in on whatever she's talking about.
'Cause she's got food, man. She brought fresh apples.
And when people are desperate,
they're dying.
If they're faced with death, you'll kind of take whatever you can take that's going to get you out of that situation, right?
Right.
Now, would that send me as far as they get sent? I don't think I don't think so. But
it's a lot of trust on their part.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll get to what they do.
Yeah.
Because we go back to
Pop.
For a little bit.
Yeah, and he's noticing all the worker bees that are inside there, and he's like, "Wait a minute, these are all the townspeople."
Yeah.
And so Ace walks in. And Pop's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And Ace gives him a BS answer. And so he asks about the prison. And Ace says he's had revelations.
Right.
And he plays dumb about Block F. Actually, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah, and when he says he's had revelations, all of the people that are around
start surrounding him.
Yeah, they all, like, ominously come closer in.
Yeah, and Ace lets Pops leave, which... the other people did not want to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. Since they just so easily get away with murdering a bunch of other people,
why didn't they kill him?
Why didn't they just kill him too?
Well, I don't think that they kill unnecessarily. Like, they kill just so they can use you as a host.
Yeah. But why don't they use him as a host then?
Because he's sick and he's got like chemo medicine. Like, he's not a good host. So
you're right. I just burped on mic, by the way.
Oh,
sorry.
I forgive you.
People, you forgive me, but apparently, Katie 317 or whatever still doesn't. It's fine. So, then he goes to Abdi, like we said, and he's like, Ace is up to something. We need to do something. He's like, Abdi's like, not me.
No.
I'm not helping you now.
No,
I remember you tied me up.
Yeah.
Last
week you were trying to kill me. Your dog almost ate me.
Yeah. So now Pop doesn't have Nadia, which, by the way, we didn't see her at all. This episode, which that's not good.
No, because the last we saw of her, she was with Chris.
Yeah, and actually, I don't know if we saw Chris either this episode.
We did not.
So whatever's going on with them, that's not good.
Nope.
But, Pop doesn't have her. Pop doesn't have Abdi, and who else? Who else can he go to?
Nobody, because he doesn't know who in the town is working for Ace.
I sort of think that somehow Pop is going to get drawn to Annie, and then they're going to
save the day.
Yeah, they're going to save the day. Because, what happens later with all the townspeople? who is not there.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's whoever is not there are the possible people that Pop could use.
Yeah, an ally.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Right.
And then Annie's at the prison, right?
Well, yeah. So we learned that no, they go back to the Marston house because, and we learned that there's 38 of them that have taken over body snatcher things, and that the police had the vessel. So we hear that Annie is now at the police station.
Right.
So he sends the one cop that he has to go take care of that situation.
Yeah, for some reason I wrote down Annie's at the prison. Annie's at the police station,
right?
Because of that situation earlier in the episode,
right?
And so I kind of predicted last week that was going to happen.
Yeah,
you know, that she's going to be in a perfect spot for them to just go and pick her up, but it doesn't go that way.
No,
the cop goes there and is like, "It's not." I can't get to her right away. It's going to take some time.
Well, also, and he gives an excuse of she's on medication.
Right.
And he's like, well, that's fine. We'll just, hi. Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we get a flashback real quick in between all that.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we
that's
see
right.
that there are 3 upside down crosses. And one of those people on the crosses is her dad.
Yeah, so Amity just burns to death all of her opposition.
Yeah, and we see lots of sex and her painting.
Yeah, so I did have a note about this upside down crucifixion thing.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm reading Salem's Lot because concurrently with the show, things are happening episode to episode that I'm literally reading like the day before sometimes.
That's funny.
So, spoilers for Salem's Lot. I'm going to give you a couple seconds. You can fast forward if you want to, people out there in listener land. So Barlow is the head honcho vampire of that story, right?
Okay.
He has this human named Straker that helps him take care of his business around the town to like lull people into so that he can easily turn them. Right?
Yeah, his gopher.
Right, exactly. So, Straker ends up not being able to accomplish his goal of bringing this kid down for Barlow to feast upon, right? I'm pretty sure that the kid who was, tied up in the Marston house in Salem's Lot is the one who murders Straker, and escapes, like smashes him over the head or something. When another group, including the kid, come back to the house to take care of business, to potentially murder Barlow and whatever other vampires are there, they find that Straker guy upside down crucified, and I don't know that necessarily this is what it represents. It's just what is in the story that they say it does.
Yeah.
They would hang people upside down with their head towards the earth because it represents evil,
Oh, like hell.
Yeah, I think they say St. Paul was crucified that way. I'm not up on my
Well, I mean, it would be the complete
biblical
opposite way of Jesus being.
Yes,
crucified.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, holy people I guess would be facing up on the cross, potentially. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then because this evil person felt betrayed by this other evil person, he upside down crucifies him, and that's that's him showing his disgust towards him. You know what I mean? It's like, you did me wrong, so I'm going to upside down crucify you. So that's what happens in this moment too. Is like she feels like they are the people in her way, and they're only ones who are going to potentially stop them from doing their business.
They're the non-believers,
right? Real doomsday cult vibe stuff going on now.
Yeah.
She's, like I said earlier, she's very good at brainwashing people, apparently. Everybody else besides these 3 are in on this thing.
Yeah.
And, this actually sort of reminded me of, a Slayer show, too. just because like there's a lot of Burning Cross vibe at Slayer shows. There's like lots of imagery of fire and Christian imagery like that. So it was kind of nice.
It was nice.
I mean, like, I feel like it totally fits for the vibe they're trying to,
for sure,
to go for.
Yeah. So after that, then we go back to present day, and that's when the cop comes back empty-handed.
Right.
And says that she's on drugs. And that's when we find out that she's the reason why Ace came back. Mm-hmm. So that kind of, but not really answers our question as to what started him out of there.
Yeah, well,
we still don't know what it exactly was she did that, what
Annie.
Yeah, like what specifically did she do that brought him back? That was prophesized.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because this goes back to first or second episode where she falls in the hole.
Right.
Where it's like, well, what is her falling in the hole?
Was there a blood drip that we missed, where she got her blood on a stone or something down there that opened it up, or?
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's a flashback that we'll see.
Venom took like 4 goes at it before he decided to.
He's a very cautious jumper.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe we'll get that explained. Maybe we won't, but. Certainly Annie was the catalyst to this entire
scared me.
This entire thing opening up again, right? This evil being unleashed.
Yeah. And now at least we have a for sure answer on that. Could you not sit right on top of that?
So I think this is where we get Amity slitting a throat after she feeds the kid a bug, right?
Yeah, so she's praying, and that's when she's talking about how they're gonna have to do unspeakable acts on the followers. Mm-hmm. That she's killed a father, she's killed a god for you.
Yeah, like, she's talking to that statue.
What more? Yeah, because And Augustin is outside with the townspeople, and they're waiting to hear what she has to say.
Yeah.
And she's not happy with what the angel is saying.
So this statue was my first inkling that we might be getting Skarsgård back.
Did you think it looked like him?
Kind of.
See, I wasn't even thinking of that.
Well, I was trying to, like, there's only, I don't know. I mean, the statue has to represent somebody. Because there's so much focus on it. And who is a sort of young, plain-faced looking Caucasian?
I thought it was a female.
Yeah. I could tell it was a male, I guess, but at least that's where my inkling was. You know what I mean? To like, I was just sort of like vaguely thinking about who it could possibly be. They never have said anything in online or anything about him being on the show this season. So,
I mean, I'm kind of glad I didn't have that inkling because of how severe my reaction was when I found out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely did not think that way. So then we see beetles start coming out of the statue. And she starts having like more convulsions or something. And
she's really wrestling with this idea of, I have to now murder my followers or something terrible has to happen to them.
Yeah, and she tells them that, they will follow even if it doesn't make sense now, which this is the point where you're like, wow, that's a lot of trust.
Yeah, they're all totally, in on this doomsday sort of cult thing they have going on.
Yeah, because Amity slits the child of a throat. Or
throat of a child. Child of a throat.
Child of a throat.
That's the episode title, by the way.
She feeds a beetle into the kid's mouth and then slits his throat. And then you zoom out and you see that there's a whole bunch of tombs.
Right, they're in that tomb or that hole in the ground sort of area that Annie was first.
Coffins.
Trapped in.
Yeah, so you see coffins. I couldn't figure out the word coffins. So you see coffins everywhere, and you realize that they're going to do this to everybody.
Yeah. So question for you, Even if you're about to be murdered, do you eat a live bug that looks like that?
I mean, if that's the only way it works, you got to, right?
I guess if you're brainwashed, but I'm not eating a giant bug.
Well, then you're not coming back in 400
No,
years.
I'd rather not.
You'd rather not?
Not if it's like this, where I'm like an evil person and going around killing people. Like, I don't know. I guess they don't know that they're going to come back and, you know.
Well, they don't think they're evil. They think they're doing God's will.
I guess you're right. But I don't know if they necessarily say that it's God.
Well, it's the angel's will.
Yeah.
They call it the angel.
Yeah. I think the kid is Satan. I think we're going back to that argument from last.
He's not Satan.
I know he's not Satan. I don't know what he is, but he's something. He's something.
So
he's something, all right.
So this is where we find out that in 400 years they're going to come back to life.
Yeah.
And he's going to be reborn first. She's going to be last. And they need to find the angel.
Mm-hmm.
And then she eats her beetle and he kills her.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go back to the parade.
Yeah, it's a real. I liked that that dichotomy between the most crazy, dark shit possible, an entire group of people, their throats slit, and they have to eat bugs,
right?
And then buried underneath the ground or whatever, to a parade where everybody's really happy.
Yeah. It's very bright and funny.
And like literally I think it's maybe the mayor or something. He's like, I haven't seen a crowd like this since Thanksgiving.
1992, I think is what he said. 92 or 97.
I don't know. It was just really funny.
Yeah. But then we cut to Abdi going to the Marston house because now Pop has like piqued his interest. And since, the Marston house is up the hill from his dig site, he just meanders into the woods.
Well, yeah, Pop tells him that he saw his buddy up there. Yeah. So I think that's what is the trigger for him to be like, well, now I got to go check it out.
Is my buddy really there?
Yeah. So there's kind of switching back and forth here, but let's just stick with Abdi for a second. Abdi sees burning crosses in their front yard.
Yeah, he sees the fire in the woods. And he sees the cop on fire because that's who they zoom in on. Like
I was gonna say, who was it that was actually on those crosses?
It was the cop. I think it was the people that came back and said that they didn't bring back Annie.
Yeah.
But
so Ace is like, no, I'm not gonna put up with this incompetence.
This insolence.
You not fulfilling my immediate needs. That means I'm going to burn you alive.
Well, he came back with excuses.
Yeah.
He didn't do what was requested of him.
But they were legit excuses too. Like, she is on the drugs.
Yeah.
It kind of isn't necessarily possible for him to just take her out of the police station.
Obviously, Ace thought that he should do whatever means necessary.
Right.
And he did not, so that's what he gets.
Yeah. So was it just him that you see on the?
I think so. Yeah. It
looked like there was more than one, though.
It looked like there was more than one person on fire because there were 3 of them. So that's why I thought it was like the people he came back with, but they only zoomed in on the badge.
Right.
So that's the only reason why it was the cop.
Well, I'm glad you picked that up because I couldn't see who it was.
Yeah. So then we go back to the parade and. The pastor is now giving a speech, and the pastor we know is one of the body snatcher people.
Right.
So
he is extra creepy now, by the way.
Right.
Because he doesn't seem as weird as the rest of them do.
No, he acts like he's still normal and then murders you.
I don't know if it's because like he's a preacher and maybe they just give off a weird vibe for me.
Just weird anyway.
Yeah, but. He's all smiles and stuff too up there in front of everybody. So that is way creepier to me than Ace, who is like kind of stone faced all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's because Ace is being portrayed by the pastor, who was very stone faced.
Right.
So it makes sense. So Pop arrives and sees Ace, and then Ace gets up to the. I said pulpit, but that's for a church. He gets up to the podium.
Yeah.
And that's when Pop freaks out. And Pop is like turned away from the stage. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't see the exact moment of the unveiling of the statue.
Right.
Which is the angel statue that we've been seeing this whole time.
Right.
And
of this hooded individual
right.
that Amity saw, and I guess they made a statue of him back then.
Right. And everybody freezes and is silent.
Yeah.
Except for Pop. Because they all were looking. And the only reason why Pop sees it is because of a balloon, which I thought was really fun.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice touch, too.
Yeah.
I was wondering if Annie, if they showed that statue down in that pit with them, like earlier on. I didn't go back and look, but
I haven't either.
I know that when they are all getting their throat slit and put down in there in this episode, the statue is above them in there.
Yeah, so I feel like it should still be.
They probably
That's
pulled
why
it out
I'm wondering
of there.
if like she somehow got blood on it or something.
Maybe. It's tough to say what caused,
the initial starting of this again.
I don't know. I mean, it's all been prophesied though, so that's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
And the thing with let's get to what happens at the end of this, and we can kind of expand on that a little bit.
So then they flash back to Amity on the cliff and the angel taking the robes off of his head, and it's the fucking boy.
Yeah, it's the kid.
It's Skarsgård.
And that's kind of where it leaves off, right?
Well, then we see Pop. It goes back to Pop, and he's running away from the situation. Right. And Ace talks about how they're going to be starting over because you need to go back to the end is where it all begins.
Right. They need a whole restart.
Yeah.
Which is the prophecy of them coming back and,
So it looks like they now have control over the entire town because
pretty
much the entire town was there.
They're all standing there kind of comatose looking.
Yeah.
Seemingly entranced by this statue reveal.
Right.
Except for Pop. He runs away.
Well, yeah, because he didn't see it directly.
And then all the other townspeople that are not there, we must assume, haven't been affected as these others have. So, well, at least for now, we know that.
Right. So what was your reaction to seeing
Skarsgård? It was a total surprise. I mean, I did, of course, like I said earlier,
Did you audibly gasp?
Oh, yeah. I mean... I had just barely a sparkle of a thought that it might be his face, but on the statue earlier in the episode. But how can you know? And then he's never said anything about being on the show again.
Yeah, it was a complete secret.
That's cool that they were able to keep that under wraps. I really like that.
I love that I didn't spoil it for myself either.
Yeah. What I was wanting to sort of touch on though, with the kid. So in last season, we know that he is sort of transporting between different worlds, right?
Right.
So who's to say that he's not able to transfer different times as well?
Right.
You know what I mean? Or a different universe is on a totally different time span, or he's in the same universe and he just knows that in 400 years. That's where this portal opens up, right?
But it makes me wonder because the kid, anytime he was around people or touched people, something bad happens.
Yeah.
So how is it that he's doing good things now, making things grow and?
Well, he also is the trigger to cause that lady to kill her entire congregation.
Right. So but I'm just saying, how did he get these powers?
Yeah, it's all kind of up in the air.
All I know is I was not prepared for it. And
no, I was not at all.
I screamed, no way.
And then you said the cat ran across the room.
Venom was gone. He was laying by me. I scared him. You could have been anywhere in the house and heard me say no way because I yelled it.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I wasn't outside again watching the episode at 2:00 in the morning like I was that one day when I yelled.
Well, what I'm wondering is how people are going to react to them bringing this guy back into the show, because a lot of people did not really enjoy the way the story went and the way the story ended last season.
Oh, like Tim? Or Mike? Who was it that didn't like
both of them.
Both of them. That's right.
Combined.
That's right. Both of them.
There's more than just them, though. There's a lot of people who were not as as stoked on the show as we were. I will say that, like, I wasn't completely satisfied. I think I don't know what I would have done different. You know
with
what I
this
mean?
Episode?
No.
With last season.
With last season.
Yeah.
But I do, the way he has come back into this, and that whole sort of witchcrafty group is now centered around this character.
Yeah.
You know, this sort of it was a mystery man, and now it's revealed that it's him. That sort of opens up a whole other area for this story to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, like,
well, they could go back to season 1 now.
yeah, they could go back to stuff that they were referencing in season 1, where there's, like, I don't know. In Stephen King lore, it's like Thinny is what is the name for it is. It's like a weak sort of portal-ish thing between universes or between worlds.
There's a weakness that you
get through. That people pass through.
Yeah.
Or, that people get pulled into, or that any of those sort of things. So, I don't know. Yeah. I'm definitely really interested to see where this goes. I still am. I'm all about the Annie storyline too. I know we sort of moved away from this episode a little bit. Like, we got a little bit of time with her, but it was more filling in backstory of the Ace stuff.
Yeah.
So I imagine we'll probably.
It's going to be all tied together soon.
Yeah.
They're all going to come together.
There's a few episodes left. So, fingers crossed that we get through to the finish line both happy with everything that happens. Right?
I just really hope the next 3 episodes are just more no way moments.
Yeah.
Like, I want my mind blown.
It's going to be hard to
top that.
to top, guy from season 1 that we thought had nothing to do with this season at all.
Yeah, it's just gone.
And then potentially adding to his storyline.
Yeah.
Because we could get even way more into what he's up to.
I would love an entire storyline based on him.
I don't know if this, but they could just have this one moment, and then we just use this as a jumping off point for them to justify their actions and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think we've said all we need to say for this episode.
I loved the episode. I thought it was great.
Thumbs up from me as well. If you like this show, please, share it, like it, all that fun social media stuff. Again, we're gonna bookend this episode with, hey, everybody out there, don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
See you next time, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
And I stumbled on my words.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Well, it's kind of like the child of a throat, right? I still really like that.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm definitely using that as the title.
Do it.
Yeah. Okay. Goodbye.
All right. Bye.